Hey y'all, let's make something.
So for the first part of this project, you're gonna need a couple of things. You're gonna need an assortment of bottles. You can use little jars, you can use boxes, and some paper, hot glue, and scissors. So you wanna make sure your bottles are good and rinsed out, and then you wanna just make an arrangement of them that you like the way that they kind of sit together. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your cardstock paper and you're basically gonna wrap it around them and attach that paper to them so they're like one solid thing. So this is my first piece of paper. I'm just gonna keep going on around and cover the whole bottom with the paper, and then I'll show you what to do at the next level. Okay, so I've got the whole bottom part wrapped in this, and I just used double-sided tape to hold this paper down. The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna cut strips from the leftover paper, and you're gonna attach them from the top corner of everything to here, just making straight lines all the way around from the top corner of whatever's at the top to your surface here. So you can see what I mean here. I'm just hot gluing these on. You overlap the pieces, just overlap them a little bit. It's okay if they twist like this, that's fine. It doesn't have to look perfect because again, we're gonna be covering all this up. This is just to give you the shape of the fairy house. Now if you get to a place, where you have a gap like this, all you have to do is just add you another piece on top of that just to close that gap. Now right here at the top, I have a gap between these two pieces. So I'm gonna take one of my pieces here, I'm gonna slide it here, and I'm gonna hot glue it, just like that. So I have something to glue my pieces to in this gap area. Okay, so now we've done the hardest part. This is the hardest part, getting this piece all the way around. This is the part that's the most difficult. The next thing you're gonna do is you're going to do the top. And as you can see at the top, we've got pieces where there's these gaps. So we're gonna take the little strips again, we're gonna lay them between, and we're gonna hot glue all this down to cover up those gaps. Okay, so the next step is what you're gonna do on the tops. Now, you can do lots of different things, but I think the easiest thing to do is to make a cone to go on the top. So this is the cone top I'm gonna put on this one. And this is the cone top I'm gonna put on this one. To make a cone top, all you have to do is take your paper, fold it into like the shape of a cone here, attach that down, and then you're just gonna cut it to the length that you need it. And that's how you make the cone tops. Now on this other one, I'm gonna do a chimney. So I'm taking a sheet of paper here, gonna roll it up. This, we'll fit it down into this hole right here, and I will hot glue that in. Okay, so the next part is where you get to actually really start having fun and being super creative. Because before you paint everything, you want to decide if you want to add any kind of texture to it. And I'm going to add some texture to mine. You could add stripes going down, you could add like vines going up, but you do all of that, I do it anyway, with hot glue. You can use paper, I may use some paper on here to texture it, and then when I'm done texturing it, then I'll paint it. And I'll show you my process as I go along. So you can see this is what I've done so far as texturizing goes. And I'm just adding like strings of hot glue in different places just to give it some texture when I paint it. Another way you can add texture is with decoupage and little pieces of paper. So I'll show you what I do here. You're gonna get a little bit of decoupage on your brush and just kind of smear it all over here, just all over the place, just really just all over it. Just smear it everywhere. Okay. Take your paper, and you just kind of stick it on there in a couple of places. And just stick it in there. And then you get it stuck pretty good. Take your brush, get you some more decoupage on there. And you just cover it up there, and it'll stay once it's dry. And when you paint this, it's gonna look completely different when you paint it, but you can use decoupage to stick some more of that paper on there. And it'll look really cool when you're done too. That's another way you can add some texture. So I'm basically finished with the texturing, but another thing you want to do when you're doing your texturing is also decide where you want to do your door. And this is where my door is going to be. I outlined it with just some paper, I squished it up, and made like a frame. I'm gonna go back and make some lines here that make it look like wood with the hot glue. And then when I paint it, I'll paint this part brown and I'll paint the other part the color I'm gonna do, the outside of the house. So I'm fixing to paint, and I've decided to paint the main part of my house red. I'm gonna do the roofs and the chimney and the door in a brown. And this is the paint I use. I like this paint. This is the paint I use. So that's what I use, and I'm gonna paint the house now. Now this is just the first coat of paint on just the main part of the house, but you can already tell what a difference that paint makes and how the texture really makes it look more authentic. Okay, so this is our first coat of paint, and once this is dry, I'll put a second coat on, but let me just kind of show you what we've got all the way around here. And you can see how the sides look. So once we get the second coat of paint on, then we'll talk about detailing and adding the little finishing touches to make it look really magical. So I've got 2 coats of paint on my fairy house, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some windows. I'm going to add a window here, and I'm going to add a window right in here. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take an X-Acto knife, I'm going to cut out the shape, and then I'm going to show you how to put the window in. Now, the shape does not have to be a perfect square. It can be any basic shape you want it to be. Now for the windows, what I'm going to do is I've got a plain sheet of white paper here, and I've got paper towel. I'm going to take this bottle here. I've got some brown paint that I've watered down, and I'm just going to kind of wash over this and let it dry. Okay, so I've got my little windows cut, and while I'm waiting for my paper to dry, I'm going to go ahead and start working on some of the details. And this is really where you can just be as creative as you want to be. I've got some sticks here, little twigs that I found outside. We also have pecan trees, and that is the correct pronunciation, pecan. And we have some pecan trees, and I got some pecans I'm going to put on here and things. You can also use silk flowers. You can use stickers, all kinds of things to just really customize it and decorate it and put some details in. Okay, so our paper for our windows is dry, and what I'm going to do is I've just glued just the top here, and then I'm going to break the little sticks to make a window frame around it and a cross piece to go across this. I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to do the other one the same way. Okay, so this is my finished product. I had some silk flowers and some silk leaves left over from another project, and I used the pecans and the pecan shells. I had this little sticker of a basket that I thought was really cute that worked with it. You can see the back of it. I didn't do a whole lot on the back because I'm not going to be having the back facing anything. I hot glued this stick to the sides, kind of like a tree. So this is the final look, and I think they turn out really cute. They always turn out really cute, but the best thing about these is there's really no right or wrong. And another thing that I am going to do is I'm going to cut a hole in the bottom of those bottles so that I can put lights up in it, and I'm just going to use like fairy lights that you can have the on-off switches, and that's all there is to it. I did that with all of mine so that I can light them up when I have guests over or anything, and they're really cute. So this is kind of what it looks like with my other ones here. I've got a couple other ones that I've made, and they're all different. You can really do them any way you want to. If you want to get some of these little accessory type things, you can get them at lots of different places. You can get them at Dollar Tree. Dollar General has a really good selection. And of course, you could go to a hobby store like Hobby Lobby or Michael's, and you could find them as well.